Hello? I've done a lot since last time I broadcast. Hey, brother, did you just send me a invite? Or was that a few days ago? Okay, you just did, okay. Hang on. Notifications. Join party. Alrighty.
You got me saying that now, by the way.
Yeah, I got it now. I found it. I thought you did.
You say brother so much, you got me saying that now. every time I'm saying what's up, well, half the time I'm saying what up, brother? I'm just like God, then I'm just like, sup, pops.
What the heck? What the heck?
I saw you were online. I haven't seen you online in a few days. What's
Yeah,
up?
I've been doing the.
I was like,
go ahead.
I was just like, I'll send him a party invite, hang out with him for a little bit, have a conversation while I run my own thing. I'm doing Shadow of the Colossus myself, and I can't. I like Shadow of the Colossus, don't get me wrong, but for what I gotta do coming up here, I can't do this by myself.
Oh, really?
It's a single-player game, but I can't do this alone, because it's gonna be a process. There are a couple things I've never done for this game. Let me rephrase this. When we got Shadow of the Colossus, when we first got Shadow of the Christmas.
Oh, wow.
My
That's
mom,
cool.
for Christmas that year, one of the presents my dad bought me and my brother a lot of video game stuff. My mom bought us a lot of other sorts of entertainment, books and music and stuff like that. So every Christmas we were guaranteed to get at least 2 or 3 video games and a couple of books and CDs.
Well, that's nice.
On top of everything else. So my brother, one year, for that Christmas that year, he asked for Shadow of the Colossus specifically. And he also asked for the Hypnotize album from System of a Down. And Shadow of the Colossus, I don't know if you know this, doesn't really have a soundtrack.
No, I ain't never played the game. I don't know
Shadow
nothing
of the
about
Colossus is actually a pretty quiet game. There's some music, but for the most part, it's a pretty quiet game. So my brother, in the quiet times, played his System of a Down music. And at the same time, he would be or it got to the point where he would all the time and only played his System of a Down music. So System of a Down became the soundtrack to Shadow of the Colossus.
Oh, okay.
So I can't play Shadow of the Colossus without hearing System of a Down playing in the background. Even if I'm not playing System of a Down in the background, I can't help but hear it.
And you would rather
It's
not to?
there. Well, I'm indifferent to it at this point. But
oh, okay.
I never actually played the game, which is what's super funny. So when the remake came out for PlayStation 4, I was like, I'm absolutely going to get me a copy of that and actually play it. So I did.
Oh, okay.
And it had been years since I'd seen that game, right? I put it in, it loaded up, and as it's loading up, right, in my head, I'm going,
wow.
hold this in mind, that if we are fall, and we fall alone. And like, I'm like, What the hell? It had been years!
Wow.
Years! And I still started singing System of a Down immediately!
That is funny. So, yeah, I never played it.
It's a great game, but it's great in one regard. It's minimalist. Despite everything, it still holds up in today's. It still holds up today. Shadow of the Colossus has one thing. Or two things. Well, really. There's only really three things to do in the game. Find fruit, find lizards, and defeat the Colossus. Or defeat the Colossi. There are 16 Colossi. There are no other enemies on the map. And with the exception of a few Colossi, most of them won't even attack you.
Well, that's crazy.
So it's like... There's really only 16 enemies in the entire game.
Wow.
But each one is unique, each one is different, each one has to be beat in a different way. And each challenge provided by each Colossus is what makes the game fun.
Oh, okay.
It's like 16 boss fights.
Wow. That is
They
insane.
said instead of putting their entire focus into building an entire game, let's put all of our focus into making 16 boss fights. And
That's
then we'll scatter
insane.
some lizards and fruit trees across the map so players can get more health and stamina.
Wow.
That's it.
Wow. I'll have to check it out. Look it up.
I've already beaten it once for my channel. I just finished beating all the time trials for my channel. I'm in New Game Plus and I've already beaten one Colossus. I'm about to start up an episode and start beating a couple more because I have to beat it in New Game Plus mode at least twice in order to do what I want to do.
Oh, okay.
Every time you beat a Colossus, you get more stamina. You can also find lizards across the map to build up your stamina.
That is cool.
Yeah, I need to... There's a secret spot in the map that there's an achievement for getting to. And there's a fruit, if you can eat the fruit, you'll get the achievement. And then there's also another achievement that you need to get to the area where the fruit is in order to get to the location for that achievement.
Oh, okay.
Both of those achievements require a massive amount of stamina to get to.
It sounds like a cool game.
It's a really cool game. You have one character, 2 weapons, a sword, and a bow. They never get improved. It's all about building up your stamina and your health and focusing on the weak points for the Colossi. I mean, I got an achievement, though. I got an achievement I didn't intend to get for this game.
Oh,
Apparently,
really?
there's... Yeah, so one of these guys, I always call him the monkey. I don't know what everyone else calls him. I call him the monkey. Because he kind of looks like a monkey with a stick or a sword, right?
Right.
So I call him the monkey. And apparently, you're supposed to get him to, like, drop his sword or something. I don't know what it was, but you're supposed to, like, do something. Like, break the armor around his wrist or something so that you can get to him and get to his weak point. And I somehow skipped it. And got an achievement called Resist the Wrist.
That sounds funny. Resist.
Let me Google it. Here we go. It's Colossus 3 without breaking. Defeat Colossus 3 without breaking his wrist guard.
Crud. Okay. I'll definitely have to look it up.
But apparently because it's... You know what the worst part is? I did it on accident. I'm reading here what the trophy is, right? And most people are like, how do you do this? How do you do this? I can't do this. This is how you... It's like... And I'm like, really? So many people need help for this? I need tips, help, resist the risk, how do I do? Like, what the...
That is funny.
And I'm like, I didn't do it. It wasn't that hard. I mean, I only had to try like 60 times. Doing it wrong is no, because I wasn't doing it the right way, and I thought I was doing it the right way. I ended up doing it, and I never stopped trying.
Oh, okay.
I'm one of these people who's like, I know I'm doing it wrong, but I still feel like I could get it right. Don't tell me I'm doing it wrong, or I will definitely do it wrong. Apparently I did.
That is... Yeah, I want to look it up, man. It sounds cool.
I like to defy people. I planted lemon seeds in Oregon. Lemon seeds in Oregon. Don't even... Bro, why did you even waste your time? Now I've got a bucket. Now I've got 8 lemon trees. There's 7 lemon trees out here now. I've got 7 lemon trees out here growing. Why are you planting tomatoes so late in the season? They're not even... It's gonna get cold and then they're gonna die. And I'm like, not unless I don't know. Bring them in and keep them warm.
Oh, man. Some people are very inquisitive, ain't they?
Well, I just... No, not inquisitive. Contrarian. They like to tell you no. For no reason other than to tell you no. You can't grow that. You can't do this.
Did you ever, when you growing up, did your mom or dad ever tell you, because I said so? Use that line? Mom, why can't I do it? Because I said so. It's like, I don't know.
You know what my kids are gonna get instead of because I said so? You ready?
Yeah.
They're gonna get, why not?
Oh, man.
Dad, why did you do that?
Why not?
Why not?
That is hilarious.
You know what my favorite one was, though, growing up? My dad, or my grandmother once, right? My dad said something, and I was like, that's not fair. My grandma said to me, if life was a fair, it would have tickets.
Oh, I never heard that. I never heard that.
I didn't understand it completely at the time. Because I had never been to a fair at that point.
Oh, yeah.
But then I went to a fair, and I understood the phrase.
Or I always heard them say, this hurts you a lot more than it hurts me, when they'd give me a whooping. I didn't get a lot of whoopings, but I was like, I couldn't understand that. I was like, how is that possible?
No, I was a messy kid, and I am a messy adult. Getting me to clean my room was a chore. Getting me to clean my room was a chore. So, one day my dad left for work, right?
Yeah.
My mom was trying to get me to clean my room almost all day. But being ADHD, every time I'd find something entertaining, I'd start playing with it, completely forget what I was supposed to do.
Oh,
Plus,
okay.
being a child,
yeah.
being a child, I'm even more prone to that.
Yeah.
Even now, I'm ADHD, and if I find something entertaining, I'll start playing with it while I'm cleaning. I'll be like, ooh, what is this? Ooh, what is that? Ooh, let me play with this. So, right?
Right.
So, I'm in my room, and I've been cleaning all day, and my mom comes in, right? And she starts screaming at me because she has been trying to get me to clean all day. She starts screaming at me to get my room clean, and I said, no, I don't have to clean my room, you bitch.
Oh, wow.
Now, I was 7. And, that didn't go so good. My mom, having dealt with me all day, having dealt with my temper all day every time she came in, having now screamed at me and having me call her bitch, snapped, and she slapped me.
Wow.
So I punched her.
Oh my goodness.
I punched her in the leg, mind you. Because I was 7 and didn't have access to much more than that. But I punched her in the leg, so she locked me in the room. And said, when your father gets home, he's gonna deal with you.
Oh wow. Man,
And then I didn't hear a sound from her for the rest of the day. Then I heard my dad pull up. I heard them talking. I've never heard my dad's footsteps in the house. I heard my dad's footsteps coming down the hall towards my room. He was walking so heavy. On carpet. I could hear his feet going, clomp, clomp, clomp. The door to my room opened so hard, he didn't even bother unlocking it. He literally ripped the door open.
Whoa.
Right through the frame and the wall and everything. He was so pissed.
Oh,
He
wow.
grabbed me by my shirt and pulled me out into the living room, bent me over the fucking couch, ripped his belt off, and beat my ass with it. I got 50 on my bare ass from that.
Wow.
When it was done, my dad said, do you know why I did this? And I was like, I don't know what I hit Mom. And he's like, no, you hit a woman. And if I hear you ever hit a woman again, next time I do this, I won't stop till you're dead. I've never hit a woman again.
Wow.
My dad put the fear of God in me when it came to hitting women.
Goodness. Man, that had to hurt.
Oh my God, I couldn't sit right for a week, dude. I was so... But at the same time, I was a serious problem child.
Oh, okay.
As smart as I was constantly finding ways to outsmart my parents. and I was also extremely rebellious.
Hey, buddy. I was talking to somebody.
So, even at 7 years old, I was already an issue. My dad doing that made me a lot more scared.
Well, naturally.
But it also taught me a lesson. Never hit a woman.
Right.
I have been beaten in a fight by a woman. I have had bruises on both of my arms from defending myself while a woman pummeled on me without laying a hand on her. I will let a woman beat my ass. I am so afraid. This is what's happening. I'm afraid that a woman is gonna clock me in the face, right? I'm gonna punch her back, and my dad's gonna show up out of nowhere with that belt. Nope, I'm good.
Oh wow.
But you know what's even scarier? My dad's 6 feet tall. My dad's 6 foot. I'm 5'6". He's only 6 inches taller than me, but he still looks a lot bigger than me. My mom, on the other hand, she is like, I think she's 8 inches shorter than me, so she's 4'10".
Wow.
And you know what the scary part is?
What's that?
I'm more scared of her than I am my dad. And not because of this. Because one day, me and my dad got into a fist fight.
What? Oh, wow.
Look, I want to say this. I'm not his blood son, so we have different personalities
Oh,
just because
okay.
of that.
Okay.
Just because we have a different genetic structure. We have different personalities. We have always clashed. It doesn't mean we don't love each other. I love my dad to death. I respect, I honor. I have nothing but the greatest of respect for the guy. Anything he has done to me as punishment, I earned, I deserved, and it went the way it was supposed to. My dad never abused me.
Well, that's good.
I deserved everything I got, and then some. There's shit I still deserve that I didn't get. But one day me and my dad got into a fist fight. It was the first time we had ever gotten into a fist fight. And at the time my dad weighed almost 300 pounds, 6 foot tall, and I was 5'6" and about 120 pounds soaking wet. So my mom got a little, my mom was in the military.
Oh, wow.
So she was in the Navy, and she got some training. Well, me and my dad got into a fist fight, and my dad hit me first.
Oh,
right?
okay.
So I took a swing at him in retaliation, and we started fighting. She got between the two of us, right? Pushed my dad off of me.
Wow.
And told him to calm down. And he said, I'm going to kill his ass, right? Pushed her out of the way and started coming at me. She held onto his arm, pulled him back, flipped him over her shoulder and onto the floor.
Whoa.
And he laid there on his back looking up at her, and she said, I said fucking stop.
Wow.
And he was like, yes ma'am. He's like, yes ma'am. My mom is, like I said, I was 105 pounds. My mom was 4'10" and maybe 90 pounds. With like 5 or 6 rolls of quarters in her pockets. And soaking wet. My mom could not have picked up this man somehow. She weighed 1/3 his weight. And she went, it was in slow motion for me.
That is amazing.
It was insane. I was like, oh.
Well, I've heard of women doing stuff when their kids are in trouble, or that normally they wouldn't be able to do.
She looked at me and she said, do we have a problem? And I was like, no, ma'am. I'm so scared of my mom.
Oh. Well, that's good. That's what's the problem with a lot of days nowadays.
Exactly. Kids don't have fear. As much as I hate to say this because people are going to be like, I disagree with you, I think corporal punishment should be allowed to some degree.
Right.
To some degree.
Yeah. Well, parents want to be their kids as friends nowadays instead of their parents.
Yeah, exactly. And my mom and dad, they tried the other stuff, talking to me, all that other stuff. It never worked. Putting me in timeouts, that didn't work. It just slowed me down. Just slowed me down. It didn't stop me.
Time out.
Beating my ass with a braided belt on numerous occasions didn't work. Taking my stuff away for a year and making me go to my bedroom every day and suffer bland isolation and nothing to do. At one point in time, I had done so. My dad was out of ideas, so far out of ideas that he took everything out of my room. At night, before bed, he would give me my blanket and a pillow.
Wow.
And my sheets. He would tell me to make my bed. I would go to bed. I'd wake up in the morning, and I'd have to give him my blanket, pillow, and sheets on the way out the door.
Wow, man.
I was in prison for a year, and it didn't work. I kept doing things to get in trouble. My dad gave up. My dad gave up on punishing me.
Wow.
Then he figured out what it was that did it.
What was...
Punishing me didn't work. Damaging my pride? Now that was a different story. My dad, the big things my dad grounded me for later on in life were like my grades.
Oh, okay.
And things like that. I almost didn't graduate high school, right? And my dad got called in to school. And he sat down with one of the guidance counselors, and she told him I was going to fail unless I went to summer school for the end of my junior year and my senior year.
Oh, wow.
And, I didn't go at the end of my junior year. I told them they were wrong. At the end of about a quarter of the way through my senior year, they called my dad back in. Same guidance counselor, same problem. And now they're telling me I'm going to have to take even more courses during my senior year if I want to make it up. And my dad, being who he is, now having had this conversation with me twice, and livid that his oldest son, who's supposed to be setting a good example for his youngest son, he's failing high school, and is basically a failure to the family, he is super livid. So he goes home and he talking to me and all this stuff. The conversation doesn't go well. And he goes, you know what? Do whatever you want. I don't fucking care if you turn out to be a worthless piece of shit. Because as far as I'm concerned, you're already a worthless piece of shit. You're never going to graduate high school. You're going to make your mother depressed. And you're probably going to drive her into drinking. Honest to God, I wish you'd never been born. So that I wouldn't have to deal with the problems that I've had with you your entire fucking life. You've just been a big waste of time, money, and space. He didn't mean any of it. He was just fucking mad. But he also knew that by damaging my pride, he'd motivate me to do something, right?
Right.
I passed all of my classes for senior year. Which I had passed like half my classes for the remainder of high school. In my freshman, sophomore, and junior year of high school, I'd only passed like half my classes.
How did you
I passed all my classes in senior year, and I passed all of the classes I needed to pass in 3 weeks in summer school.
Well, that's good.
I took like 6.5 credits worth of classes in 3 weeks.
You were hooked up, wasn't you?
I'm super smart. It's not that I don't have... I wasn't failing because I'm an idiot.
Oh,
I was failing because it was boring, and I didn't want to do it.
Oh, okay. So they knew you could, and you just wasn't.
Yeah, my dad knew I could, and I just wasn't. So he was like, you know what? I'm gonna make him think he can't. That's what it is.
Oh,
when my dad tells me I can't do something or I'm not going to, I hate that. I hate it when anybody tells me that. You won't change. You can't change. You are... Do not presume to know me. I am a human being. I am as fluid as water. I am as ever-changing as the wind. You cannot presume to know who or what I am at any moment. And I will prove you wrong. And that is exactly what happened. I fucking proved him wrong.
Well, that's
I've
good.
lived my entire life proving people wrong. Chris, you'll never get off of an inhaler. You'll be on an inhaler for the rest of your life. Bullshit. I haven't been on an inhaler for 20 years.
Well, I'm glad you found the motivation.
Although now that I'm older, I probably need one.
Wow, man.
Honestly, the motivation for getting off of an inhaler was when my doctor told me I wouldn't after I'd gotten beat up for the 3rd time in a week.
Beat up?
Having an inhaler. Okay, when I was in elementary school, I hit puberty. Before everybody else.
Oh, okay.
I was a lot bigger than a lot of the other kids by the time I got out of elementary school. But being a lot bigger than a lot of the other kids meant that a lot of the other meaner kids wanted to pick a fight with me because I was bigger.
Oh, okay.
So I kind of had a reputation for being the toughest kid in school. When I got into middle school, I went to the same middle school as the elementary school I went to. So all the kids in that middle school knew me, and I had the same reputation.
Oh, okay.
That's also the same year I developed bronchitis. Well, by the time they realized I had bronchitis, it was so far developed that I ended up being bedridden, house-trapped, basically, for like a year. When I finally went back to school, I had an inhaler. And all of the students, or all of the kids at that school that knew me, that remembered me as the toughest kid in school, now saw I couldn't run more than 15 feet without needing to stop and take a puff off of my inhaler because I couldn't breathe. And having been beaten up by me in the past, decided to now take advantage of my weakness.
Oh, okay.
I got beat up over a dozen times before I finally did what I ended up doing. And I got beat up 3 times in a week I got beat up 3 times in a week, and we went back to the hospital for a checkup that week.
Man, that's
terrible. The doctor
terrible.
asked me what had happened. The doctor asked me what had happened, why I was covered in bruises, and I told him I keep getting beat up because I'm a weak kid with an inhaler. And he shook his head and said that's not right. And that was that.
Right.
And then I asked him, when am I going to be able to get off the inhaler? And he said, it looks like you're going to be on the inhaler for the rest of your life, kid. And I was like, that's not going to happen. So I just stopped using it. Every time I started running up and down running up and down the street in front of my house. And every time I'd get tired, right, and I couldn't breathe, I'd try and get my breath back. And at first, I'd take a puff, like, after a long time, like right before I almost passed out.
Right.
But after a while, I stopped having to take the puff for the distance I was running, and I'd run even further, and then here we go. But once I was able to run up and down my street like 5 or 6 times without stopping, I stopped using the inhaler and just started running all the time.
Man, that's amazing.
I forced my lungs to be able to breathe again.
Right. Yeah.
But I think in the downside, it caused problems with me as an adult. I think it may have limited my lung capacity. I think it may have caused some other side effects. And combined with some of my bad habits from my youth.
But that would have stuck to been on that all your life. I mean, that would have sucked.
Yeah, but I'm not on an inhaler now. I've been on an inhaler for 20 years. And if I have to get on one now, I accept it, but only because I'm an adult and because I'm not going to get beat up for having one.
Right. Yeah, it might be a little different now.
Yeah, it'd be a little bit
Hey, he's got an inhaler. Let's get him.
And that was... Dude.
Oh.
I shit you not, right? Day 1 of me getting back to school, right? I could hear the kids in my class behind me going, I got an inhaler now. I'm gonna jump in after school.
Oh, okay, I didn't hear what, I didn't, couldn't understand.
Day 1, Chris has got an inhaler now. I'm gonna jump in after school.
Oh, okay.
I could literally hear him in the classroom behind me.
They weren't even trying to hide it, really, was they?
They weren't even trying to hide it, no. I'm turning around and I'm looking them in the eyes and they're looking at me, right? And they're doing, you know how, they're doing that thing where they raise their chin and look at me? Like what?
Yeah.
I'm like, motherfucker, I'm gonna get my ass beat.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's pretty bad, just, let you know, man. They wasn't even hiding it. Oh.
And then I was like 13 or 14 when I got beat up for being white.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Being what? That's terrible.
Well, let me. I was in middle school, 8th grade, and I was sitting on these bleachers. It was like the middle school type bleachers, you know, the ones that only go up like 3 feet off the ground and they have no backing or anything.
Yeah.
I was sitting on these bleachers and these kids come up to me, and there's 6 of them. 2 of them grab my legs, 2 of them grab my arms, and the other 2 proceed to start pummeling me in my chest and face.
That is terrible.
Well, I can't move because they're holding me down. Like bent backwards over these bleachers, by the way.
Goodness, that is... Did anybody help you?
No, nobody helped me. They let me go and let me fall over the ground, covered in... I've been beat up worse.
That is terrible.
I'm lucky they weren't bigger kids, because I'd been beat up by bigger kids way worse, and they've done some damage, but not enough to me. Not enough for me to actually give a shit at the time.
Oh, okay. Well, still. Man.
What really pissed me off and made me fight them later was when they told me why they'd done it. And the reason was because I was white, and I had given a note about a crush I had on someone to a black girl.
Oh, wow.
And that's why they had beaten me up, because I was white. And I was white, and I didn't belong with a black girl.
Oh,
that was
wow.
what they said. After they were done and they let me fall to the ground and I'm trying to get up, they're like, that's what you get for getting with a black girl, Whitey. Shouldn't be white. You don't belong with a black girl.
What was it to them? I mean...
That was why I got my ass beat.
That's ridiculous.
That's why I waited until my bruises healed, and then I kicked each and one of their asses individually.
Wow. Good.
And because they wanted to be little bitches and do sneak attacks on me, I did the same thing. Except I didn't use 6 people. I didn't hold them down. I had 1 person. And you know what I did? I walked up behind each and every one of them and I punched them in the back of their fucking skull.
Wow.
Right in the fucking neck. Right there. You know how much that hurts?
Oh, man.
And it will bring you to your knees. I went pop, pop. I knocked them to their knees with 1 punch to the back of the neck, got in front of them, and clocked them in the face.
Goodness. Good for you, man.
Just so they could see who the fuck it was hitting them.
Man, I can't relate. Well, it could be because I went to was your schools that you attended to pretty big?
My middle school was like maybe 800 students.
Oh yeah, your schools were a lot bigger than mine. Maybe that's why I didn't. That's why
I went to Florida and all the schools are overcrowded. I think my favorite fight I've ever been in, though, it's one of the few times my brother and I ever backed each other up on something. My brother is my half brother. We have the same mom, different dads. Right?
Right.
But I have no blood tie to his father.
Hey,
However,
buddy, how's it going? I'm sorry.
His father, I'm just gonna clear up some information. I was born of the genetic material of a woman named Tabitha and a man named Brian. My brother was born of the same genetic material from Tabitha and a man named Greg. Brian is my genetic father. Greg is my stepfather.
Okay.
Technically speaking. Technically. But I don't want to get technical. Because technicalities are bullshit in this case. Alright?
Yeah.
Brian is just a sperm donor. He had nothing to do with raising me. He wasn't present in my life almost at all. And when he was finally present in my life, he didn't want to stay present. So he ended up getting pushed out of my life because of his own choices. I pushed him out of my life. I pushed him out of my life because he made choices. On the other hand, Greg, my stepfather, quote unquote, that's my dad.
Yeah, I got an Xbox, buddy.
That's my dad. Alright? That's my father. You can be anyone. Anyone can be a sperm donor.
Right.
But it takes a real man to be a father. And my dad, Greg, he is my father. He dropped out of high school, got his GED, took care of my mom and worked 2 jobs while she went to high school while pregnant with me. So she could graduate. Alright? Took care of her with 2 jobs, got his GED, then took care of 2 children, my little brother and me, while my mom joined the Navy. And worked 3 jobs during that time frame to take care of me and my brother.
Man, that was something.
Yeah, that's a man. That is a father.
Right.
He's been there since the day I was born, he's been there for me and my mom since before I was born. That man is my father.
Right.
There is a reason I have respect for him and why I don't think anything he did raising me was wrong. Because he did a lot of right over the years.
Right.
He did a lot of right over the years.
That's good. You had him.
And I learned a lot. Even from his failures, I learned lessons. Like, I know what my own children are going to be like. If I was that difficult, I know what my children are going to be like. But I know how to handle it now.
Right.
I just have to find that one emotional tick that makes them go, really?
Well,
a perfect example is the rose bush. When we moved out of the house, we had a rose bush that we ended up selling to a neighbor. They came over, they dug it out of the ground, they transferred it over to their property and everything. But we sold it to them. Because I didn't want it to die. We were selling the house, but we weren't selling the house to anybody. It was going to the bank, and the bank wasn't going to do upkeep on it.
Oh.
At least not the maximum upkeep. There was going to be minimal upkeep. And when my dad asked the bank, when we were there, I asked they said minimal upkeep. I asked my dad, does that mean they're going to get rid of the rose bush? And my dad specifically asked for me. And they said, yeah, and that was important to me because this was a rose bush that had started out very small, but was now all the way up to the top of a 14-foot privacy fence.
Man, that's wild.
I had raised this thing all the way up to, and it was 9 feet across from side to side. I had a ladder, a step ladder I used to trim this thing, and I was trimming this thing every weekend. Because there is so much bush that by the time I would finish clearing out the trimming on the bush from one corner to the other, I'd have to go back to the other corner and start again.
Wow, that's crazy.
And it took me, I put a lot of focus and effort into this. I loved gardening so much. So, this guy came over, he took the rose bush, and whatnot. But this rose bush started off as a small bud that my dad got me as a challenge because I wanted a dog. We had a dog, but it wasn't my dog. It was his dog. My dad always had this problem with me. I always wanted something of my own. Sharing it with other people was one thing, but having something of my own was a different experience. I wanted a dog that was mine. I wanted a dog that nobody else took care of but me. That was my responsibility. I wanted to experience that challenge myself. I didn't want a dog that was just everybody else's. And my dad told me I wouldn't be able to take care of a dog by myself.
That's
but
awesome.
We went back and forth on this for like 3 months.
That's awesome, man. I had to answer a comment. This guy just graduated high school, and he's telling me about it. Oh, my comment.
So, my dad told me I couldn't take care of a dog by myself. It was too much responsibility. Like I said, we went back and forth on this for like 3 months before my dad came home one day, and he goes, "Buddy, I've been thinking." I was at the home improvement store. I don't want to say which one because I don't want to promote any brands. I was at the home improvement store picking up some plywood for the hurricane that's coming in, and I saw this. And I thought of you, and I thought this would be a perfect test. And he pulled this rosebud out, and he goes, if you can take care of this and keep it alive for 1 year, I'll buy you a dog.
Wow.
So I started taking care of it. I did research. I asked him to help me with anything that I needed help with that I wouldn't understand. He helped me learn so much about taking care of that. I ended up growing watermelons, sunflowers, tulips, pumpkins, squash, tomatoes, jalapenos. I grew a lot of stuff in the backyard over the course of time. I ended up taking up almost a third of our yard with gardening stuff. We had an 80-foot yard from side to side, and like 50 feet from front to back from like house to fence. So wow. I had taken up almost 100 square feet of space.
Man, listen to this comment.
Or 1,000 square feet of space.
From this guy. I'm gonna be making money by gaming on Twitch every day. No jobs won't hire me because of having a disability. Man, that's not right. This guy says he has a disability and that's why nobody would hire him. Yeah. Yeah.
So, I don't know if you know this, Coxford, or Caleb, I guess I can call you that because you say that, right?
Yeah, it doesn't matter, man. Both will be fine.
I live in an apartment right now. I have no yard. I am growing 10, 12, 17, 18.
What am I supposed to do?
Currently I have 18 plants growing.
Wow, that's a bunch.
Outside of, with no yard, on the second floor. I live on a second floor apartment. I'm growing 18 plants outside of my front door.
That is crazy. Whoa.
They're all in pots, and the tallest one is about 4.5 feet tall.
Wow, that is insane. Mm-hmm. Man, where's it at? I got a red wasp flying around in my room.
Do you know my favorite part? Each and every one of these plants.
Hang on, bro. I'm gonna kill this thing.
Go ahead. Slaughter the wasp.
Na udam doayam.
That was hilarious.
Zila bale we wash. Sanduani.
Alrighty, I'm back. Luckily I had some spray. I'm back. I'll be back.
I can hear the game.
Do what?
I can hear your game through your microphone once you took your headset off.
Really?
And it was saying stuff in the caveman language.
Oh.
And I'm just sitting here dying laughing.
Oh, okay.
I'm watching a wasp and I hear Undayamano. man.
Oh, I was wondering.
The best
That's
part though
funny.
about each of my plants is recycled produce.
Oh, okay.
The bell pepper plants. I have 10 pepper plants growing right now. Each pepper plant comes from a different pepper, and some of them are different colors. I don't remember which ones are which at this point. But I have 10 pepper plants, bell pepper plants growing right now. Each one of them came from a core that we took from a bell pepper we bought for dinner.
Wow, that sounds cool.
I took the core, I planted it, and then once I got a bunch of seedlings, I took as many as I could save. I took the strongest ones, I planted them in their own individual pots, and let them go. Some of them I planted in jars.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, the jars kind of created a super germinating effect, so they grew really fast. The tomatoes I just planted not too long ago, we went out, and we were going to make salad, so we got these little tiny cherry tomatoes, and it wasn't like the regular cherry tomato pack though, it was like the mix pack where you got like the brown and the yellow and the red and the orange tomatoes, and they're all like different shapes and flavors and stuff like that.
That's cool. I'll answer him. It's been a while, but I'll definitely make it over and see what you've been putting out. He's about to turn 20 on August the 29th. Man, you're young, man. I wouldn't mind to be 21 again. 2021 again, I guess. Man, that's amazing. 20. Trying to get up there. 20 years old. I got a niece that's 20. I got one that's 20, one that's 26, one that's 1. It's got to be this way. I never did get around to beating this. Good deal. I will have a look. Let's see. September. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. September the 1st will be 8 years for me. God, how do I get to this?
I'm like 4 years in on October. Oh. We got a bunch of these little random assorted cherry tomatoes though. Some of them weren't good, so we had to get rid of them. And I was like, instead of throwing them away, what if I just put them inside of this jar, throw some dirt on them, crush them up underneath the dirt with a stick, and then water it. So I did that, and they started growing in this jar. So yesterday, because they've been growing in this jar for so long now that they're kind of big and the roots are kind of getting together, and it's really hard to keep them hydrated because there's not enough dirt in there to store the water that they need.
Oh, okay.
So the dirt keeps getting super dry and crusty and hard with the roots inside of it, and the plants keep wilting over and falling because there's not enough water. So yesterday I got some I took something in there, I broke it up a little bit, I managed to get it out because Leah had gone out for me and bought a bag of dirt. And I planted them but we don't have any pots left. And we do have this small backpack that we were going to use. It's basically like a burlap sack. But we didn't have enough dirt to end up filling it, so I just rolled up the sides of it and turned it into a round cloth pot, basically. So now I've got tomatoes growing in a bag.
I meant that.
Yeah. Yeah,
Man,
that's
so
hilarious, right?
Yeah, it is.
I'll see if I can send you a picture through the PlayStation Party chat, because I'll do it on my phone.
Do you think you'll make any more of those face videos?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We've been doing camera videos for a while. We turned it off. We stopped doing the cameras much recently because it's so hot that we aren't exactly decent. For instance, Leah has been getting home and walking around primarily in her bra and underwear. Or a bikini, or something similar, because it's so hot. There we go. I sent this picture to my dad, and to the Discord, too.
I'll check it out here in a minute. How do I get up there?
That's the question, isn't it? And that's actually a good question for me. How do I get up there?
Wait a minute.
I gotta finish this thing a bunch more times.
Oh man, I thought I could climb that. I'm not seeing it. Do I gotta go in there? No, I need to go around. I don't think... Yeah, there... Wait a minute.
Son of a bitch. When it hit start broadcast, and right after I hit start broadcast, it's like, hey, you gotta go to the bathroom.
What is that? Can I fast travel out of here?
I'm just not having a good day. Spilled a whole glass of soda all over my computer.
Great, now.
Not so good.
Oh man, this ain't good.
I want a first-person caveman survival game.
Well, I'm in a cave right now. Big cave.
Semi-realistic. Actually,
I think you'd like Primal
semi-realistic.
if you like old stuff. Or,
It's not so much that I like old stuff or caveman stuff. I do like caveman stuff. Don't get me wrong. It's not so much that I like that stuff though, as it is
out of here.
I like the challenge.
Yeah, it's
of
definitely
primitive
different.
stuff. The challenge of being in a primitive world is so much fun and unique, different, and I really want something like that. That's why I like art. In art, you quickly get access to fire power. Like gun and stuff. I'm like, oh, there you go. And all of a sudden, you've got guns instead of bows to fight dinosaurs.
Yeah. I never did play Dino Crisis or...
Now, mind you, early men wouldn't have even fought dinosaurs.
Alright.
We would have been attacked by other, more insane creatures. Saber-toothed tigers, dire wolves. Dire wolves were real, dude.
That's what you play on this game. I'm riding a saber-tooth right now.
Exactly. Now, I want that, but with base building, multiplayer, and no pre-existing NPC stuff, like Minecraft. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, the most complicated the game gets is you just trying to survive. Like in Minecraft, the trader comes along, but there's no other NPCs other than like a wandering trader. Or like it randomly spawns another like a random caveman in your area that you can trade with, and then they leave. It's not always the same guy. And you gotta build up a clan with other players and stuff like that, you know?
Right. Well, this is what you do on here, too. You build your village up, add people. I never did finish it, so I'm trying to get it finished before 6 comes out.
JR and somebody else I've been playing with, Eric. I've been playing Far Cry 5 a lot.
Oh, so you've been playing Far Cry 5?
Not me. No way. And actually, to make matters worse, I think I might not ever play a Far Cry game.
Well, it's not for everybody.
Here's the thing. JR showed me Far Cry 5.
Yeah.
I wasn't impressed.
Yeah, 5
In
ain't...
fact, I was underwhelmed for how much I've heard about these games.
Yeah, 5 wasn't the best one to be welcome to the series with.
It just looked like every other first-person shooter to me.
Yeah.
And I watched what you were doing a little bit, but my problem is that it's single player.
Oh, okay.
I don't want single player. I'm tired. I already am tired of playing games by myself.
Far Cry 4 is multiplayer.
Wait, maybe it was Far Cry 4 that they were playing that.
Yeah.
Is it 4?
Yeah.
Is 4 the one with the family in the woods or whatever?
5 is the one that takes place in America. That's about the religious fanatic family. 4
That's the one then that he showed me. 5. That's got multiplayer in it too.
Yeah. Well, that's cool, buddy. Hold on, I got my girlfriend into video games. That is real cool. Oh man. Animals. Down. Let's see. Yeah, this has got saber-toothed mammoths, dire wolves, black jaguars. You can tame them all.
Giant stags.
Do what?
You should also have things like giant stags.
You got all kinds of animals, man.
Well, they were like mega deer back then.
Yeah, it's got some big old deer in it. At first I thought, man, a Far Cry game without guns, that ain't gonna be no fun, but next to 4, I think it's my favorite. A lot of it's new to me because I didn't get very far into it when it first came out.
I have had an idea for a Zelda game. It has never really reached popular opinion. But I mean, let's fucking throw it out there. Ready?
Alright.
Ganondorf does something. I don't know what. But whatever it is, he somehow ends up blaming... He somehow ends up getting everybody to believe that Link did it. Right?
Alright.
So, instead of banishing Link, what they end up doing is they send him into the future. Instead of banishing or killing him, they send him into the future. Way into the future. Way into the future. When Hyrule is no longer a vast expanse of fields and a castle, but a sprawling network of streets and skyscrapers. Welcome to Hyrule State. Hyrule City. Still on...
Sounds cool to me.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Swords still exist, just not quite the way you expect. For the most part, swords are... I mean, they still exist, and they're mostly decorative, but for the people who know how to use them, they're real weapons. But they're not made of steel, they're made of light. And electricity.
That sounds cool.
And plasma. They're not lightsabers, though. I want to make that very clear. They're not lightsabers. They have shapes. They're just... They look like they're made out of light. They're actually like some sort of contained plasma field. I don't care. I don't want to explain it. The point is magic.
You have a good one. Don't forget to check out my channel when I stream it. I will, buddy. Definitely.
But Link has to learn to use a new type of weapon. A gun.
Sounds good, buddy.
Replace the horse, Epona, with a motorcycle. Lon Lon Ranch? How about Lon Lon Motorcycle Co?
That is... that might work.
Try the new Epona Mark III.
Great ideas, man.
Ride the new Epona Mark III. It's like having a real horse between your legs.
Yeah, Far Cry 5 probably wasn't the best one to see for your first impression.
Lon Lon Milk and Motorcycles. They still make milk.
That's funny.
That's just for giggles, honestly. half of their fucking business is a garage full of motorcycles and motorcycle manufacturing shit. The other half is a pasture with cows in it.
Okay, I'm gonna go home. So your lady's out right now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that game
she's
looked
out at
pretty
work
cool.
right now.
That game looked pretty cool y'all was playing last night.
Final Fantasy X?
Yeah.
Dude, I could talk about the Final Fantasy franchise all day. But I can't do it without giving credit to D&D either. D&D was the role-playing game that inspired Final Fantasy. And Final Fantasy was created out of desperation. See, and Square Enix created Final Fantasy. What they weren't aware of at the time was how popular it would be.
Oh yeah.
They were going out of business.
Hey,
they were going out of business,
brother.
and they weren't going to be able to. They weren't going to be able to make any more games. So this was going to be their last game they made. So they titled it their Final Fantasy.
Oh, okay, I'm following. How's it going, buddy?
They released it, and
wow. So they lucked out.
They really did, but here's the thing. Final Fantasy 1 had a model. Final Fantasy 2 had the same model. Final Fantasy 3 was different. Final Fantasy 4 was different than 3. And a little different than 2 and 1. Final Fantasy 5 was different. Final Fantasy 6 was different.
Right, they had to change it up.
It wasn't just the story though. It was the gameplay mechanics too. Sometimes you'd be able to do this, and sometimes you wouldn't. Sometimes this would do that, and sometimes it wouldn't. Sometimes, and sometimes not. And it was... So every Final Fantasy game, there were some basic rules that were always there. But then you had to learn what the other rules were. And then... So, like, Final Fantasy 1 and 2 were basically just role-playing games.
Oh, okay.
Focused on upgrading your character, leveling up, beating the boss, and ending the game. There wasn't a lot of secret stuff. There were secrets, but there wasn't a lot of secret stuff to find. Then, I don't know about Final Fantasy 3 or 4 or 5 myself. I've played them, but I don't remember them. I don't know if there was anything in the... I don't remember if there was any or if there were any mini games. All I remember about 3, 4, and 5 is 3, I think the main character's name was Butts, which is why I laugh.
Oh, man.
The main character's name was Cecil, and he was a Dragoon in 4, and that's why I remember him, because I like Dragoons.
Can you imagine the real life teasing somebody would get if that was their last name?
I can't imagine. And then I don't even remember anything about 5, because 5 was only released in Japan, and the only time I've ever played it, it was in Japanese, and I never finished it.
Hey, Miss Cole.
I couldn't figure out what to do. So I got I never really ended up beating it. But Final Fantasy VI is where I can start picking the series back up. In Final Fantasy VI, there's not a lot of mini-games, but there are a couple mini-games and a couple of hidden things to find. But the thing I liked most about 6 is that 6 had 14 playable characters that you could make your party out of. And each one of those 14 playable characters had a unique skill set. And you could do some crazy shit if you really wanted. Plus, if you did the right stuff and you looked around, you could be a god amongst men. And I was a god amongst men. And I loved 6. Then 7 came out. My brother played 7 and I watched him play 7. And I can tell you this about 7. I have no interest in playing.
Oh, really? You don't
like
that one?
7 is at the bottom of my list. The characters? Every character is basically... How do you describe every character? Depressed. woeful, despondent. Other words for sad.
Oh, okay. So some of them are hit and miss.
No, they're all just sad.
Oh.
All their personalities are depressed. And every situation that they approach, nobody ever had, like, it's rarely, the characters are not very likable, in my opinion.
Oh, wow.
The characters are not very likable, in my opinion. They're all basically just, like, tragic backstory after tragic backstory after tragic backstory. And it's like, wow, can I get one character who's just like, yeah, I have come from a great past, blah, 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 and I just want to help you. No, everybody's got a tragic backstory. And their tragic backstory all ties into destroying the corporation that rules it all. And then ultimately defeating or something like that. It's really hard to understand exactly what's going on once that happens, for me at least. I was a kid when it happened, but that's what I picked up on. And then, here's the problem. I didn't really like 7. I thought the materia system they had in 7 was pretty neat, because if you would equip materia to a person, after a while they'd learn whatever the materia had on them permanently. And they only had so many materia slots, so you had to change them in and out to learn new skills. And I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, sounds like it.
And then there was the casino, the Golden Saucer, which you could go to, and there were chocobo races and all sorts of other things you could do. But that was pretty fun, because I like mini-games. But outside of that, Final Fantasy VII was garbage.
Oh, okay.
Then Final Fantasy VIII came out. Final Fantasy VIII features the Guardian Force system, where everybody in your party can summon something called a Guardian Force. And a Guardian Force is basically a big monster that does a magic thing, and then it goes away. And they're basically like aeons and summons and all sorts of things. Like you could do summons in Final Fantasy VI and Final Fantasy IV. I don't know about... I just realized something. I've never actually played Final Fantasy VI. I played Final Fantasy III. Final Fantasy V is the one that has bugs.
Oh, okay.
Final Fantasy III was originally released in Japan, but then was released as Final Fantasy VI here in America. Because Final Fantasies 3, 4, and 5 were only released in Japan at the time. So when we finally got a port for Final Fantasy 3 over here, we mislabeled it as Final Fantasy 6.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
It's not 6, wait a minute. Or is it the other way around? It's one of those two. I just can't remember which one. I think... No, it was 6 in Japan, 3 in America. That was the problem. I think, god damn it. It's been so long now I can't remember which direction it goes.
That's funny. So how are y'all doing? I'm talking to the people and stuff.
Okay, so it is 6 in true lineage, yeah.
Oh man, where's my... Ow!
It was released here as the 3rd Final Fantasy game in America. So we released it as Final Fantasy 3, but it's actually Final Fantasy 6. Regardless, maybe 3 does have butts. I can't remember now. Like I said, I can barely remember those games. I wasn't really interested in them. That was my problem.
Yeah.
6 had some good summons. 7 was boring. 8 had summons. It also had a mini-game called Triple Triad, where you played with cards on a grid system. And I was immediately hooked. It's a hard game. It has strategy and tact. And by beating your enemies, you get more cards that you can use to beat your enemies. So I was hooked. Like, I've got to get the best set, right? I got to beat everyone.
Right.
Hooked. On top of that, there's an ability to turn monsters into cards in battle if you make them weak enough. So I'm like, oh yes, hell yeah, I'm gonna make everybody a card. Fuck yeah! So here's the problem. Triple Triad was great. But it wasn't that great. It had its flaws. Final Fantasy IX came out, and they had Tetramaster. Very similar to Triple Triad. Definitely it's superior in every way. I have to admit something.
Alright.
Me and my brother have both played Final Fantasy IX. My brother has played Final Fantasy IX probably about a dozen times, but he's only beaten it about 3. He usually ends up stopping because he gets bored, or something else pops up, and he gets distracted, forgets, and then when he starts over, he can't remember what he was doing, so he just starts over. Makes sense. He's only played it about a dozen times, though, and beaten it about 3. I have played Final Fantasy IX probably about 45 times.
45 times?
I've never made it out of the first... not never. I've only made it out of the first city maybe 10 times. And I've never made it off of what would be considered the first disc. It was a 3 or 4 disc game, and I never made it off the first disc. Because I couldn't stop playing Triple Triad. Or not Triple Triad, Tetramaster. Tetramaster is such a fucking fun game, I can't stop playing it, which is why I haven't bought Final Fantasy IX. Because I know that as soon as I open it, I'm never gonna stop. I'm gonna keep playing Tetramaster. Forever and ever. Because I'm an addict. Hi, my name is Chris, I'm a Tetramaster addict. Hi, Chris. I discovered Tetramaster at a very young age.
I'm not messing around on that.
I started using, and once I started using, I just couldn't stop. Next thing I knew, I was making combos and taking other people's cards like a professional. And it was always just one more game, one more game. And one more game turned into 10 more games. Next thing you know, I was jump roping with little girls to take their cards from them too. It was insane. And by the way, it sounds like I'm making all that up on a fly, but that's all true. You can get cards by jump roping with little girls. One of the rarest cards in the game, you have to jump rope a certain number of times successfully without getting caught in the rope to get. I've never gotten that card. I've never gotten that card, but I did try every day for 1 hour for an entire year. So I know I put at least 350 hours.
Oh wow!
Trying to get that card.
I put almost that on Origins when I played it.
It is ridiculous. Because at first it's like the jump rope thing, it's not that difficult at first, right?
Yeah.
The way it works is the jump rope goes around, and an exclamation point will pop up over your head. You hit X when the exclamation point shows up, and you jump. If you hit it timed right, you jump over the rope, and you're fine. If not, you get caught in the rope, and you fall down, and you gotta start over. Now, you have to do 20 jumps to get 10 gil, 50 jumps to get a Cactuar card, 100 jumps to get a Genji card, 200 jumps to get the Alexandria card, 300 jumps to get the Tiger Racket card, and 1,000 jumps to get the king a jump rope item.
That's insane.
Which, I have never got that either. But I've never gotten the tiger racket card at 300 jumps. Now the reason for this is because the way the jump rope works... Let me see if I can find the exact mechanics as to when it changes. So, it doesn't say when. Okay, so it's after, okay, so it is every time you do this. So after 20 jumps, they get a little bit faster. After 50 jumps, they get a little bit faster. After 100 jumps, they get a little bit faster. After 200 jumps, it gets into this weird pause state where you may or may not get one.
Wow. Yeah, it's a cool bulb. I'm up north now. Northern part of the map. I'll show you the map. It is massive. I don't think I've even opened it all up yet.
1,000 times to get Hail to the King.
I never did beat it when it come out. But 6 is coming out in October, so got my saber-tooth, one of my saber-tooth tigers. Where is it at? Right now I'm just messing around on this stream.
Oops, sorry. Good all-time Star Immortals out there. Welcome back to Infinity Complex, Palace of the Immortals. I'm Chris. I have with me on my chat Caleb from Coxford Gaming. Is it Coxford
Hello.
Gamer?
Coxford Gamer.
Gamer. Check out his channel on YouTube. It's the one with the green icon. In case you see any other Coxford Gamers out there.
I don't think there is any.
So, just to explain to you, you don't think there are. But you never know.
Where is that?
So it's saying there's a lizard here. So guys, I am back to playing Shadow of the Colossus, and you're like, oh, but why, Chris? Why are you playing this game again? I hear you. Shh, stop yelling at me. Because there are lizards,
mammoth,
and fruits, but more importantly, there are some achievements I haven't gotten that I've been wanting to get. And in order to get them, I actually have to beat New Game Plus mode twice. At least. So...
Is it up here?
Give me 1 second.
Where's my tiger?
I now have to end this episode because somebody has to be me.
Boom.
Wake up.
Get him. Man, I gotta get warm.
Hopefully that worked.
Finding the light.
Somebody just posted hate speech on my channel, so good old time shot mortals out there, and welcome back to Infinity Complex. I'm Chris. I work with Caleb from Coxford Gaming.
Hello.
Channel. Hopefully this time we don't have that issue. So I recorded them, and should have blocked them automatically.
Finally, we're getting somewhere. Yeah. Oh man. Oh man, I should have. Get it here in a second. Yeah, the game is amazing. My Let's Play videos are just the campaign missions, the story missions. Great.
I had a feeling that problem was going to happen when I started my episode up.
Oh, somebody talking trash?
Hate speech.
Hate speech. I've never had a problem with that. Of course, I don't do an overabundance of streaming.
No, this, I'm pretty sure it's the same guy from before. Just with a different account.
Whoa.
Man.
Did it do it again?
No, I can't find the lizard. We blocked him once on a different account, so I'm pretty sure he's back on a new account. It's just been a while. But earlier I got a YouTube studio and I got somebody watching right now. We'll see what happens. Don't see this lizard yet.
Where's my bear? Boom. He's
That's
big.
cool, Ace. No, it wasn't a bug. I'll tell you what happened. Somebody got on my stream and posted hate speech. Speaking of, since you're already on my stream right now, I'm gonna go ahead and do something. If you don't mind. I like you, Ace. I trust you.
Okay, we need a... Need something to
posted
rock.
hate speech though, so I had to report them. But I know that I figured they were gonna show up because YouTube Studios told me earlier I had a comment on one of my pre-existing videos that was already posted, and then when I went to go check it out, it had been deleted. So.
Okay, now we're back on track.
Okay, what was I doing? Oh, I'm still looking for that stupid lizard. I bet you it's not here, it's somewhere higher up, and I can't find it because of that. Or maybe... No, it's not inside. I don't know where the hell this lizard is. Okay, let's go for that lizard instead then. Lizards equals stamina, and I need more stamina. I'm gonna grab as many lizards as I can per playthrough, and I'm also... Am I running the right way? And I'm also going to
Let's get this.
have to do several playthroughs. But in doing so, I should gain enough stamina to climb up to the top of that thing, which is what I need to do. I need to get
Okay,
up there
now.
to get a secret fruit, and then after I get the secret fruit, I can run somewhere and get the secret gate. So, Ace, I just made you a moderator. That way, if you see something...
Oh, you sucker. No, I'm talking this game.
There's a lizard around here somewhere. Who says so?
Man, those guys. I said this camp is very hard.
You never find these fucking things. What the hell is that? I have the lizard detection stone on and everything. It should be showing me exactly where this lizard is.
That's weird. It's not.
Oh shit! Oh, okay, I'm
Okay, I
okay.
think I'm in my stream here.